My personal values have always been and will always be my faith, my family, and everything else. I was raised with Christian, conservative family values, and those are the same values that my wife and I are raising my son with.
Mr. Wright.
It is a Christian conservative. That's why I was brought up. That's why I raised my family. Your name is everything. I was brought up in a rural area and can still go today. And if your name spoke from generations to family, you were looked at from your dad's name down to the name you was setting for yourself in school. And that's the way it should be today. I think with my business that I've run as a business owner and developer in this community and nationwide, my name has an integrity backed behind it. They know I will do what is right. Necessarily it might cost my company additional money, but we will do what is always right. My employees learn that is an integrity of our name, that they're representing my name, and that's one thing I do push even inside of my company. And that's one thing I think we need to make sure our council has the same integrity of who we are from City of Carrollton, that it follows that.
Mr. Wright, how would you describe your own political philosophy? That is conservative, moderate, liberal, progressive, etc.
Very conservative.
I'm a proud conservative, but I would remind you this is a local, nonpartisan, municipal election.
Well, with that in mind, more and more, some of the decisions made even at the city council level are affecting us right at the constitutional level. And so I would ask you, please explain your understanding of what the Second Amendment means and give us your opinion of its significance. Would you like for me to repeat it?
That'll be fine.
Please explain your understanding of what the Second Amendment means and give your opinion of its significance.
You know, I'm going to have to just say that I am blanking on the Second Amendment. I do apologize about that.
Mr. Wright.
Kind of going the same way right here. It's going the second. Yeah, because I'm thinking is it the right to bear arms? Okay. Growing up, again, military family, around military. I actually had a contractor the other day I met with, and he bought a handgun for his wife and asked me what I thought about it. I said, well, my wife came with a handgun. You mean all of them don't? So he just kind of looked at me kind of funny. Grew up hunting, grew up fishing. It wasn't to slaughter an animal just for the fun of it. It was a way of life. It was hunting for eating. It was protection inside of our home. We brought up from day one what a handgun is for, and what a shotgun's for, what a rifle's for. We've done that with our kids.
How should the ideal elected official represent his or her constituents, and why would you do a better job than your opponent if you're elected, Mr. Wright?
I'd hate to say, oh, Doug's this horrible guy, don't vote for him. No, he is a good guy. I mean, I think we got two good candidates. It is for our community. We both are for this community. There's some things I have added value. I've completed 2 full terms of P&Z. I've worked with the city from an individual developing this community. I know what it takes to walk through and try to get a permit in the city from a contractor. I know what it's like as an architect trying to take a client and develop inside this community. I've also done development and knows what it's like to bring in development into this community. There's some experience there that I have worked with that I think is a good asset to sitting on council to bring a whole different point of view that a lot of people have not done all of those items. Also, with the many experiences I have with a lot of other cities in doing the exact same items and seeing what is working with other economic development communities, things that they're pursuing.
I think you should represent your constituents with professionalism, perspective, and work ethic that they would be proud of. And in terms of my opponent, in terms of experience, commitment, and passion for our city, I feel that the choice is clear.
In your view, do you see a threat to our liberty from our own federal government at the present time, and to what degree?
Yes and no. I'd like to see more local control over local issues and let we the people manage ourselves at the local municipal level. And there is times when the federal government can have a reach that restricts us a great deal. And that's something I would like to see more local control over.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to see that it stays the local control with the communities. This nation is so large and it is so diverse, even down from communities. What you're going to say is work in Carrollton is not necessarily going to work somewhere in Dallas. It is a different ethnic mix. It is also a different income mix. It's a different lifestyle mix into it. As Carrollton's growing, we're becoming more of a metropolitan city. We are introducing all of these elements that are coming into our city that are into it, and we do need to be careful how we do address those.
Mr. Wright, will you oppose or support efforts to increase taxes?
No, I wouldn't support to increase taxes. I do think we need to find a way to live within our budget. We have to do that as individuals and our home. If the economy goes downturn, we just don't go out and say, well, you know, who's going to cover it? We have to do it as individuals at our house, and I think as a city, school district, government, and all aspects, we need to learn to live within our budgets.
Yeah, I've spoken earlier in a couple of the answers regarding quality redevelopment, and I just want to make sure everyone's clear that I will work hard to increase the tax base and not the tax rate.
We touched on this in an earlier question, and this comes from the audience. What would you do to extricate us from the clutches of the UN's Agenda 21, which is basically designed to remove our property rights?
I do not support Agenda 21, and I don't see how an unelected international body could possibly understand the needs of our community and the citizens here. So I do know in no way, shape, or form support Agenda 21.
Mr. Wright?
Do not support Agenda 21. I think as a citizens, though, we do need to watch what is going with inside of our cities and state of how they are obtaining land at a government level and how they're controlling development onto that, which is kind of a pseudo-touch of the way Agenda 21 is. We do need to watch and hold our politicians accountable at even down to the local level how our city properties are being used.
Okay, Mr. Wright, would you support or oppose a ban on firearm sales or ammunition in the city of Carrollton?
No, I would not support banning it.
Would I support or ban?
Would you support or oppose a ban on firearm sales or ammunition in the city of Carrollton?
Support or oppose a ban? I would oppose a ban.
That's kind of tough to get earlier.
What's your name is Spence?
Yeah, now you're questioning, now I'm wondering, how did I do that? Can I still make my own ammo? That's the only thing I want to know. Okay.
As soon as you tell us who's on third. Do you support or oppose using federal money to subsidize local public transportation projects?
That is something that I possibly could support. A dark green line, there was a significant amount of federal dollars involved there that came from our federal tax dollars.
Right.
There would be some support. I would be concerned about what kind of strings the federal government would try to be imposed upon us for those items. But I mean, like I said, a lot of our green line and some of the items that are coming into our transportation is tied to tax dollars that are helping out these communities.
Okay. I know I was reminded that this is a local election, but with your oath of allegiance to the U.S. Constitution, how would you handle the pressure put upon you to enforce a federal mandate on your local constituents that you know to be unconstitutional?
I probably would be, one, I would be definitely concerned about it, but also how to handle bringing this to the attention of the city itself and our constituents of how to oppose it and how do we work together to address such a mandate. How do we get away from it, or how do we oppose it, and how do we, and the way to address it, because it's bad, and we got to stand up for our rights and not be bullied by the government.
Well, from a local perspective, I don't think I would support a federal mandate that was unconstitutional.
Well, this is the final question, and then you'll each have a minute and a half for wrap-up. What is the one burning issue that prompted you to run for this office?
I think it's quality redevelopment. This is my hometown. I grew up here. I'm raising my family here. And we are centrally located in the fourth largest metropolitan area in the United States. We have great infrastructure between our highways and rail lines. And I think we've got a great shot at not just redevelopment, but quality redevelopment. And I really feel like I can make a difference there between my experience, my passion, and my commitment to our community. I really feel like this is the role where I can contribute the most.
Mr. Wright.
It is catching the development and the quality of life we have in this community. We've got great bases here to work from. I've convinced other businesses to relocate already here, which helps our tax base, which helps the redevelopment of this community. At council level, just seeing how other cities are doing it, but necessarily also how great our community is being an advocate for our community. That's why I even put my own business here. And coming into that aspect and moving people into the community, it does work for me. To me, I think we got one of the greatest places here to work from. We got some great assets that are sitting here, and not let some of these opportunities go by us again.
Okay, you all have a minute and a half to wrap up, and who would be next? Who answered last? Terry? All right.
Well, coming on the Tea Party, I just want to thank everybody for putting on this event this evening.